Hello and welcome. In this lectures, we are going to talk about what is Amazon EC2 auto scaling or auto scaling. In auto scaling, we'll have a auto scaling launch configurations and auto scaling group. So in auto scaling group, we'll have opportunity to set the minimum size, scale out as needed, desired capacity, and maximum size. We'll see this in the theoretical practical. So as per that in AWS website and the recommendations, this image I have referred from that in AWS website itself. So in EC2 auto scaling, how it will work? Let's say this is that in end user, he is hitting that route 53. So route 53 is nothing but a DNS. He is hitting that in a website. Let's say example.com. It's going to that in a elastic load balancer, but now we are going to use that in applications load balancer. Yeah, and with help of that elastic load balancer, it's connecting to the respective EC2 instance. So this box is nothing but EC2 instance, and a demo one is going to be a scale here. So auto scaling is a playing very important role for scaling out horizontally. So if you see that initially there is a two server is already provisions, but if required then additionals in availability zone B it will be provisions, and in availability zone A one more provisions if required. If there is no maximum capacity, then it will be go and increase horizontally as well as per the demand. Yes, but all those we have to define into that in our policy. So we'll see all those things in into the practical. Let's go and do it. So now I'm in AWS console, and what we have to do, click on the service. Inside the compute sections you'll be see that in EC2, click on the EC2, you'll be see something as scans like that, which is we are already familiar about that in our EC2 videos. Yeah, so in earlier sessions we have created that in AMI, and the AMI is here now, and demo AMI 100, and we have created. Yeah, so with help of this AMI we are going to create our auto scaling, and we'll attach it here. So now I'm going to in auto scaling launch configurations and auto scaling group. So this is auto scaling is a non-functional requirement where we don't know how much traffic we are going to get it in a particular day and time. So in that case, this auto scaling will play very important role. So we'll take care about that in our applications available, and it will be increase the servers or a scale out and a scale in, like in horizontally, not a vertical. So let's go and see that in what is launch configurations and auto scaling group. Once you click that in launch configurations template, it will be look like something landing screens, and it will be displayed about the 10. Click on the create launch configurations. Once you'll do that in create launch configurations, it will be look like that. So in you can choose that in base AMI whatever is there as a default. Again choose that in a free, but instead of choosing the free, because we have already choose that in this instance in AMI before, while creating the EC2, I'm going to choose that in my AMI, and the my AMI will be displayed over here. Click on the, select that in AMI. Now it's asking that in choose instance type. I'm going to choose that in again T2 micro as a free tier, but it's up to you. If you want to pay, you can choose that in other than that as well. Click on the configure details and create launch configuration. So if you'll see specify the name of the launch configurations, I'll put that in a demo auto scaling launch configurations. So demo A for S for auto scaling, L for launch configuration, LC for launch configurations. Purchase options, request a spot instance, no. Are you going to use that in IAM role? I'm not going to use for this demo. Monitoring, I'm just going through the basic, otherwise we can enable CloudWatch detail monitoring. In advance we can come and put that in kernel ID, RAM disk ID user data. So in our AMI we have already, so user data, which is nothing but we have configured that in a Apache, and this user data we have already placed into that. So with help of that it will be installed that in already, that will be there like in Apache and this website, and it will be a start and a stop. So I'm not going to do anything at the moment. We'll have opportunity to IP address type as well. We can assign a public IP address to every instance. Do not assign, only assign a public IP address instance launch in that in default VPC and subnet. That's fine, let it be default. Click on the S storage, and we are not going to change that in any storage, let it be all default. Click on the configure security group and select the security group what we have created earlier, and my security group again I'm going to use it as it is, because we need a SSH on port number 22, and HTTP TCP port 80 is required for accessing the website. I have restricted on port 22 will be only accessible from my uh, PC. However, HTTP will accessible to anywhere in the world. Click on the review and create a launch configuration. So before doing the create a launch configurations, you'll have opportunity to go and see that in all review step. So what is difference, if you go through that in launching that in instance, and doing that in creating a launch configurations in running that in a manual EC2 instance, we have to follow the all 7 step. Here 6 step. Now we are just defining as a template. So our launch configurations will work as a template, and this template we can utilize that in a auto scaling group. On basis of that, it will be go and provision that in a number of servers or whatever we are going to define. So let's click on the create launch configurations. It's asking the key, and I'm choosing that in uh, my key for North Virginia. Click on the launch. So launch configurations is already done, and we'll able to see that in view your launch configurations, view auto scaling group. So after that in launch configurations created, it's asking create a auto scaling group using this launch configurations, or you want to close it. So we'll have opportunity to go and create a number of launch configurations, and we can define that in auto scaling group. And good thing is that for there is no charge for auto scaling and launch configuration, so we can create as much as we want. Only that will be chargeable once we are running that in a EC2 instance with help of a auto scaling and launch configurations. There is no specific charge for auto scaling uh, launch configurations and auto scaling group. So first step is done. Now I'm going to do that create a auto scaling group using this launch configurations. So it's asking the group name, and reference is already there, auto scaling launch configurations, auto scaling group. And it's asking that in a group size, so I want to start with 1. What is the network? I want to choose that in a VPC as a default. We can choose that in a subnet, so I'll choose that in 1B and 1C. So minimum 2 we have to choose due to that in highly available. So if you'll see that in this presentations availability zone 1A, 1 AGA and AGB. So with help of that this will be there. Now we can choose that in any availability zones or all, there is no restrictions, but minimum 2 is required, which is highly available, or you can go through that in a one as well. In advanced sections we can configure the load balancers as well. So but I don't want to go and use that in load balancing. So health check, grace period in 300 seconds. Monitoring still it's there, 1 minute frequency and not enabled to, so and so forth. Instance protections are how we are going to protect it, and server link roles. So all these things I'm letting it as its default. Click on the configure a scaling policy. Keep this group as a initial size. Use a scaling policy to adjust at the capacity in this group. So if you choose that and keep this group at its initial size, then it will be there only one. It will not go and increase and decrease. However, we'll have opportunity to go and increase and decrease it while choosing that in use a scaling policy to adjust the capacity of this group. So a scale between one and one instance This will be the maximum and minimum and maximum size of your group. So let's say one is a scenario, I want to run the Jenkins master, and the requirement is I want to run that in only one Jenkins master, not more than that, due to the data consistency or yeah, or persistency. So in that case, if you'll choose that in a scale between 1 to 2, so you'll be have a two server, so that will be suit for like between 1 and 1 instance. And name of that, you can choose that in a scale policy, like in a scale group size. And it's saying that matrix, what is the average utilizations of, we will say that if there is a 70%, then instance need like how many seconds, let's say the consecutive 10 second to warm up after that. In so by default it was there at 300s, let it be 300s, but it will be 5 minutes. So better to do that in 100 or 60 seconds. Yeah, disable a scale in. So if you do that in disable scale in, it will be not go and decrease the servers manually. So you have to do that in manually. If you go and click on the create, yeah, so what we'll do, instead of defining this one, we'll just do a scale between 1 and 2 instance. This will be the maximum, minimum and maximum size of the group. So I'm saying that you start with 1, but if required then do that in 2 as well. Click on the configure notifications, we can choose that in SNS or SMS, we can send it from the here itself. If something is going up and down, like in a scaling out and a scaling in, so what you have to do is just click on the add notifications. It will be ask you to put that in send a notifications to whom. With the recipients, we can put that in email address whenever the instance is launched, terminate, fail to launch, and fail to terminate. So these are the rules will be there. If something will be happen, then it will be sent that in or we can show that in existing topic as well. I'm not going to do for at the moment. Click on that in configure tag. Again, tag will be used for like auto scaling group. And with help of that, we can identify that in here for so and so purpose we are using this one. Yeah, billing purpose, click on the review. And this will be not go for the billing, but in tag will be work for like in especially for Terraform and Ansible, where that will be, resource will be identified by that in tag itself. So now this is that in review section, so we can go and set that auto scaling group, group name, group size, minimum group size, maximum group size, subnet, health check period 300, detail monitoring instance none, and so on and so forth. So I'm going to do that in health checkup period, we'll do that in less. So in health check period, we'll reduce the time. Instead of 300s, we'll show that in 60 seconds, which is about 1 minute. Configure notifications, configure review, and create auto scaling. We can go and see that in all view logs this is already done. Close it. So once this is done, now desire minimum and maximum, if you'll see that in default countdown is there in 3 seconds. I'll go to that in EC2 instance, and we'll able to see that in one server shown. So we can monitor that in health check, like an active at the moment nothing is there. Active history, so it's launching a new EC2 instance, and why it's fail. The launch a new EC2 instance, status region authentications failure, launching EC2 instance failed. A user request created an auto scaling group changing the desired capacity from 0 to 1, At Ethana, an instance was started in response to the difference between desired and actual capacity. Increase the capacity from 0 to 1. Okay, so what we have choose that in 0 instance, so we'll go and see that in come all the way down, and it's you know sorry, in not load balancing, I'm sorry about that. Click on the EC2, come all the way down and see that in launch configurations. Auto scaling. Yeah, so first one it's failed due to that in some region. Second one it's again successfully launching that in EC2 instance, because in 1 minute it's tried that and nothing was there, and it's started now. So what was there, if you'll see that in a different instance was started in response to the difference between the desired and actual capacity, increase the capacity from 0 to 1. So because we have put that in all one capacity, so now if you see that in instance is there like in life cycle in service and it's working. So what we'll do, we'll go and terminate this instance manually. Let's say that in one of the issue happen, so this instance is running, I'll go copy these ones, and our website I'm expecting it's running. Yeah, so these ones we have configured that in earlier and created that in AMI. What I'm going to do, I'm going to shut down this instance, terminate it. Within 1 minute or 5 minutes, within 5 minutes or 1 minute itself, it will one new servers will be run. Let me open that in, duplicate it, AC2. Yeah, it's a shutting down. Once it is shut down, it will be not check that in a status. What we have to just, we have to play with the timing. It's saying that in unhealthy, and it will be checked that in that much of time if it's there into that monitoring. Over here also you'll see that in all server related activities, if any notifications is there, it will become tag. We can do, we can schedule that in activity. Yeah, and we manage that in life cycle hook as well. So what we'll do, we'll reduce that in some time. Auto scaling group, click action, action and edit. Yeah, that server is terminated, a new server is going to be run now. So as per that in our definitions, what we have defined it, it's waiting for 1 minute. Once terminated, it's going to be launched new. If I'll go to that in now auto scaling activity, what is happening, one new server is running successfully. Yeah, so one is terminated EC2 instance, another one is launching. Yeah, so we'll get that in all logs from these screens. In instances state, we'll check that in what is that in current state of that instance. So it's a healthy now, and it's a in service, that means it's running. Yeah, we'll again copy that in IP address, and we'll able to see that in that website is running. So this is all about that in auto scaling. So it's making sure one instance is running at that moment. If you have any tools which will be stress it out CPU. Then we can put that in like in 80% utilizations of a CPU, average CPU utilization is 80%, then go and launch that in another EC2 instance, and that will be done. So thanks for watching.